Hey, what's up guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars, and today we're going to talk about the Dropbox earning call of their Q4 2020 earnings. You ready? Let's get started. So, this channel is all about using online income opportunities like Merch by Amazon and Etsy to build our passive income online and invest this income in things like the stock market and real estate and things like that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe, and let's get started. So, two things to start off. One is I now have an Instagram where you can follow me, track my online sales, see what kind of revenue I'm making, and also follow my stock picks and what I'm thinking about in the market. So if that sounds like something also that you're interested in, that is at Dapper Dollars on Instagram. So the other thing is we got a really cool insight into some different things that we might not have noticed before without this market dip or correction or whatever we've been going through. And what this showed us is that there are certain stocks, at least there are certain stocks in my portfolio, that are tracking the NASDAQ a little bit tighter than I thought, because there are companies like Dropbox. Well, Dropbox, we knew tracked the NASDAQ. Vuzix and Hyliion. I did not think that Vuzix and Hyliion especially would track the NASDAQ as closely as they do. Yes, Vuzix is considered a mostly tech company, and Hyliion is in the EV space, but I thought that they might be somewhere between the NASDAQ and the Dow. Oh, and I'll do a video on Vuzix here if you want to see my last Vuzix. And if you want to see my video on Hyliion, I will link that here. So if you're interested in those stocks to see where they've grown from and the potential of those, you can check out those videos. But anyway, this is amazing information for us to have because it tells us that these companies track the NASDAQ closely, and that if we have a dip in the NASDAQ, we are able to, plan for it, buy these stocks, buy the dip, and get ourselves a lower price. I hope that you have been buying the dip. I have certainly been buying the dip in this correction recently, and I've pretty thoroughly enjoyed getting these stocks on discount because I actually bought at the peak, right before the correction or this dip or whatever is happening. And unfortunately, I'm now having to go back and put more money in of my own personal money and make sure that I'm actually able to capitalize on all of this. But anyway, so that's my musing on this information that we've been given as far as which stocks tend to track which of these markets better. And now let's move into the meat of this video, which is the Dropbox earnings call. So we're going to start out with the stats of Dropbox, and this is usually how they start these calls. So we'll roll into the stats first, then we'll look at what moved Dropbox the most in 2020, what they're looking at doing in the future, 2021 goals, and then what I think needs to be changed. But again, I'm just a guy on YouTube, so I doubt that they're really going to watch this and take my advice to heart. But hey, Dropbox, if you're listening, I might have some solid advice, or you might just need to keep going without me. Anyway, let's get started. So, what are the key statistics of Dropbox that they mentioned on the call? Well, they have over 15 million paid users on Dropbox now. They have over 500,000 business teams on Dropbox who are paid users. And there was a 13% year over year growth for Dropbox stock. And not Dropbox stock, but Dropbox revenues. So these are some amazing factors to start off the Dropbox earnings call, and we're going to get into one of the other things that they talked about a little bit later. So this is where Dropbox is right now. A 13% year over year revenue growth is insane for most companies. Most companies in 2020 just wanted to get, somewhere to have a year over year growth, but Dropbox really knocked it out of the park with a 13% year-over-year growth, and they've set themselves up for a pretty great 2021. So let's talk about what actually moved the needle for Dropbox in 2020 and how they feel like they position themselves to be even in a better place for 2021. Now, Dropbox has some things that they rolled out in 2020, which was Vault, where you could encrypt most of your data that you stored on Dropbox, which made Dropbox a much more secure platform to have a cloud-based storage. Then they had the computer backup, which allowed you to back up everything that was on your computer desktop and in your other files as well onto Dropbox, which gave you the ability to be more mobile with where you could actually work and what you could do now with Dropbox. So you could upload everything on your desktop and all of your files onto Dropbox. Let's say you were somewhere else and you needed to access something, there was a file on your desktop. You couldn't actually work from your desktop itself, but you could access the files that were on your desktop and then resync those files once you got back home. So computer backup and being able to work from your desktop from anywhere in the world makes Dropbox a pretty amazing thing. Dropbox also introduced Dropbox passwords, which is basically like a keychain that most Chrome and sometimes Safari gives you the option to save your passwords. But Dropbox allows you to have this on basically any device or any computer that you can have access to. So you back up all of your passwords to Dropbox. Any computer you access Dropbox on, you're able to then use those passwords as well. So again, it really enhances the mobile experience of not having to have your desktop with you all the time or just your laptop. If you're able to work from someone else's laptop, you can also access your Dropbox. And that makes for a very convenient mobile working and a very agile way to, if you're a small company that has multiple people working on multiple different devices, you're really able to just be almost on any device, anywhere at one time to access any of your files that you could want. So that is an incredible benefit to Dropbox. And they also have Dropbox Family that they rolled out in 2020. Dropbox Family is basically a way for at least up to 7 family members to have a Dropbox account and store up to 2 terabytes of information from videos, pictures, and files and things like that. So that is a great thing for Dropbox. They said Family really wasn't moving the needle that much, but it's still a great thing to have. Now, we also know Dropbox made some building changes and staff changes in 2020 to the tune of an 11% workforce reduction. So that was pretty insane. And on this conference call, they said that they would mostly be using their buildings for in-person meetings and things like that. And that in the future, the workforce is going to be pretty limited. So this is great for Dropbox, number one, because it means that their building space that they have, if they had excess building space, is now able to be sold for capital for Dropbox to be even more cash heavy in the future. And, an 11% workforce reduction means that you're trimming the fat and they're living into their mobile first mentality. So they're not wasting money on the things that might be just ancillary and not exactly a necessary thing. So everything we know now is that Dropbox is being as efficient and maintaining as many necessary people as possible. And like we said, trimming the fat. So Dropbox offices are closing, and Dropbox Spaces is a platform that has been rolled out to a small group of people. This is still in the things that were driving 2020 growth. Dropbox Spaces was one of the things that was a major growth factor for them because Dropbox Spaces was a platform where it allowed them to access other different apps. I made a video on this in the past referencing the fact that Dropbox is now allowing the integration of softwares and things like that to work with Dropbox so that you can work from Adobe files off of Dropbox, you can work from Microsoft files off of Dropbox, and they worked in 2020 to continue to expand the array of products and software that you could access and work from through Dropbox, through Spaces, which is an amazing benefit to the creatives who use Dropbox. And being a creative myself in the creative industry, I am so grateful for this, and I definitely see the benefit. And Dropbox on this conference call mentioned that the creatives are the ones who are benefiting the most from this and that they are driving the growth of Dropbox Spaces. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the future. So, what is Dropbox doing that is really getting some notoriety right now they talked about on the conference call? Well, they signed some amazing users in 2020, and it was pretty impressive. They got the not the second largest, but they got one of the largest energy providers in the US to come to Dropbox. And so let's talk about why they chose Dropbox. Being one of the largest energy providers in the US, they could definitely use almost any other service. They could use a paid Google account, they could use the Microsoft Teams account. So why did they choose Dropbox? A lot of people say that Dropbox is just third place to Chrome, or not Chrome, well yeah, Chrome and Microsoft Teams. Well, they said they chose Dropbox because there was a security element to it and a mobile-friendly work environment. This goes back to everything that Dropbox implemented in 2020, especially the desktop backup. Because this is an energy company and they're likely having to go around making service calls, and they might have to go and meet up with someone who wasn't, or who had let's say they don't have their computer with them, but they needed to access their computer that maybe was at the office, or maybe they left it in their vehicle and they were now working with someone else. Through using the computer backup through Dropbox, they are able to access the files that are on their computer from someone else's computer just by having a different Dropbox login. So this allows an amazing amount of versatility and mobility for this electricity company. And that is an amazing thing that Dropbox has provided to these people. And so that, coupled with the security and the encryption of files and the sharing, was what the energy company said that they really chose Dropbox for. And now there is another one, Thousand Hands. This is a European company, and they chose Dropbox because Dropbox, again, offers security and was able to consolidate everything that they do in their company to make it an entirely remotely based company. So that is a huge thing, and it probably goes back to the computer backup thing that Dropbox has rolled out in 2020, and it allows for so many people to work from and have access to files in a way that is just beyond anything that we have right now. Because I don't know of another service, unless you have like a team viewer thing where you literally have to remote into your computer. I don't know of another way to access a computer or files on a computer with something like this Dropbox Spaces and the computer backup through Dropbox. It really is a game changer as far as a software and a tool that can be used to really make companies much more mobile in the future, because all you really have to do is log into your Dropbox on someone else's computer to access files that are on your computer. And that just, I love it. I love it. I think it is so great. I think it is so smart. I think it is going to be used by so many more companies in the future. So I can't wait to see a Q1 2021 report to show new companies adopting this and the rollout of Dropbox Spaces as well. So what is Dropbox's future that they talked about on the conference call? Well, the future for 2021 is mostly evolving the products that they have right now and the main product itself, which, if you know anything about Dropbox from the beginning, it was a file storage and file transfer company. They said that they are going to continue to evolve and develop that and push that out. So Dropbox is still focusing mostly on being a file storage and file sharing company, which got them to the party and will likely keep them there. So making sure they stay on top of that is definitely going to be a powerful tool. And they're working on rolling out more HelloSign integration and pushing that as being part of most of the packages that Dropbox offers for paid users. I think HelloSign is now available in 21 different languages, so it is going to be much more accessible across the world, which allows for Dropbox to have an ability to penetrate multiple markets across the world. That's great, because the US is an incredible market to be in. However, a global market to be involved in is much more important. So HelloSign and evolving their core product is what Dropbox is focusing on, as well as their Spaces integration and rolling that out to the broader customer base of Dropbox paid users. Because right now Spaces, like we talked about, the one where you're able to work with different softwares within Dropbox, that's called Spaces, that is mostly in a beta process right now from what they talked about on the conference call. And so they're wanting to push that out to more of the paid users, make it available to more people, and grow the awareness of Dropbox Spaces as a tool for people to use. I think this is going to be great, and I really hope that they're able to succeed in this. And this kind of leads into my concerns for them going forward because, again, Dropbox probably isn't going to hear this. They're likely not going to listen to me. But I'm going to tell you what my concerns are for Dropbox that they didn't address on this conference call, but what I would like to see from them that I think could help. I don't see that much advertising for Dropbox. I do see advertising for Microsoft Teams, and Chrome is just one of those things where you have your Google Drive, and most people know about Google Drive, most people use Google Drive, and so there's not that much advertising that has to be done. However, Microsoft Teams is advertising. I do see advertising for that pretty often, but I don't see that much advertising for Dropbox. And, even though a lot of people know about Dropbox, they might not know everything that it can do. So I feel like doing more advertising, and if they would push Dropbox Spaces, Dropbox Desktop Backup, and just the benefits of everything Dropbox does to the broader consumer market, that it would do incredible things. I think a lot of the Coca-Cola slogan, or not the slogan, but the saying about Coca-Cola, where if Coca-Cola stopped advertising for 2 days, it would cost them close to $60 million in revenue. Now, most people know about Coca-Cola, but Coca-Cola still puts ads out there constantly. I think anybody in the world knows what Coca-Cola is. However, they still advertise, and they know the importance of advertising. So even though a lot of people know about Dropbox, they might not know the new things about Dropbox, or they might just need to be reminded that Dropbox is still there and is a solution for small to medium-sized businesses that is highly effective at allowing those small to medium-sized businesses be mobile and be remote when possible. So that's my soapbox. That's my opinion on Dropbox right now. I still love this company. I think it's going to go, it's just a straight line trajectory for Dropbox as far as revenue because like we've talked about in the past, file sizes are just getting bigger. The free accounts that you have on Dropbox are limited in space. So as files get bigger, as we progress in technology, it mostly forces people into the paid version of Dropbox, which is why you don't see Dropbox's new users growing that much, but you see their paid users growing in the future. And you see them grow consistently throughout every quarter. So Dropbox is a recurring revenue source, recurring revenue product. They have a very sticky product in that, a lot of people don't want to switch from Dropbox, so I don't see really revenue going down anytime soon. And I think this is going to be an incredibly successful company in the future. They could do a little bit more to execute on growth as far as that goes. But I think this stock is going to go insane because Dropbox is also focusing on share repurchases. So that means that they're taking more shares off the table, which is going to in turn drive the stock price up and the market cap of this company up. And right now I think it's a bargain where it's at. And I hope that you have the opportunity to invest in this in the little correction or dip that we're in right now. So anyway, that's my thought on the Dropbox earning call of Q4 2020. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry there weren't that many slides for this. It's a conference call, so they didn't really have a whole bunch of slides to go with it. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And remember, someone is going to do something great every day, guys. Why not you? See you.